Okay, let's talk about Iran. Is this salvageable based on some additions? Brings me to, once again, this whole art of a deal and the negotiation, and knowing Trump's background, knowing Trump's affiliations with Saudi Arabia and with Israel. I can say that would probably be where he is trying to get this. He's keeping that card really close to his heart. So that's an intelligent move, which is kind of rare for him. But this plays into his whole. He knows how to make a deal, and his focus might be, and we're speculating, but might be to contain Iran's regional role. Yeah. Now the question is what it means for Iran and what it means for the Middle Eastern regional
Right.
stability. I think
In no sense of the word do I believe the Netanyahu presentation, uh,
he's a nutball.
in the sense that Iran has an active nuclear weapons program. They do not. Is this nuclear deal working? And I think the answer is an unequivocal yes. I mean, you have basically reduced Iran's ability to create a nuclear weapon by shuttering, basically mothballing the plutonium reactor at Arak. You have taken and reduced the amount of centrifuges they have, kept them at first generation centrifuges. Iran can now refine up to 3.7%, enrich up to 3.7%, which is good for nuclear power. It can actually do some medical isotope research and things like that. It cannot produce a weapon which requires 90% enrichment.
From my point of view, I don't. Something that Donald Trump had said during his debates. I come back to that, and I've always believed in that. It's like, first of all, no one has. I mean, if there are 5 or 6 or 7 nations which can have the nuclear arms and have nuclear weapons, then it's hypocrisy to stop anyone from doing it. Okay, so from my point of view, it doesn't matter. It's about not pushing them to a corner, and this did a great job by putting that hand of extension, saying, okay, we are going to treat you a certain way, but these are the conditions, etc., etc., and then brings them back into the international community, right?
Say you're right. The sense was, don't push them into a corner and bring them back into the international community. But this deal is at the heart of it, telling Iran you cannot develop nuclear weapons. Point, there are people who should not have nuclear weapons. There are countries and people who you cannot trust with nuclear
So there are
weapons.
some
That's
people who are
not to
more evil than
say
the others.
that's not to say you can trust countries who have nuclear weapons.
Well, I have to have this one last sentence, um, and this is a mathematical thing, right? It was, yeah, Bayes. The Bayes theorem in probability says that the future probability of an event is most influenced by the past probability of an event. So if you see that the highest probability that any country will use a nuclear weapon in the future would be United States of America. Not so much about containment of Iran, but this whole deal in many ways brought a balance into the Middle East. Now it's more of a balance of power. And now there is more balance in power in the Middle East between Iran and Saudi than there was 10 years ago. But United States, by putting all its faith onto Saudi, is is being hypocritical. It's being unstrategic, and third, most importantly, it's not sticking to its own principles. Would actually exactly play into the hands of the balance of power in the Middle East losing out, especially to Saudi, which I would say is the wrong side to have full power. It's good to be in balance, and
I think it's as much about Israel as it is about Saudi, and he's got leaders in his ear saying we hate Iran. We do, they are a threat to regional stability. We should not have any dealings with them.
America is the best country to be thawing that relationship for the interest of Israel, right? But this, by not doing this, um, it's to its own detriment and to the detriment of Israel.
Look. I think I completely agree with what you're saying. I think a good relationship between the United States and Iran actually helps Israel. I 100% agree.
I don't know if I'm giving Donald J. Trump too much credit of intelligence. I do believe he has some. I don't think he's that dumb as he's portrayed by the press. So
This deal was done. Iran insisted on blocking out the nuclear deal as a separate entity.
I would say the deal is off the table.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
for me it becomes okay, I'm being treated like this because I'm too weak on the table. Okay, the only way for me to return back to the table is looking stronger, and I'm going to do that. And
look,
the looking
and
stronger, unfortunately, is usually economic. And if you don't have economic, it's nuclear, right?
you've said it the best I think anyone could. Is when you're boxed into a corner like that, I think your
Exactly.
first reaction is to come out fighting and say, "No way,
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
no way."
that's where this whole deal worked. I have more faith in the Iran as a nation being a part of the international fabric. How do I say sustainably than Saudi Arabia has.